What is good? Welcome to the latest edition of your favorite 3x3 podcast. This is Word on the Streets. Replace the E's with threes. I'm your guy, the voice of 3x3, Kyle Montgomery, alongside my partners. That's Vince Shang, 3x3 The Energy, and The Mountain, Boz Rosendahl. We're back. The season has been rolling. Vince is laughing for some reason I can't explain. I think he's just excited about all the topics we're going to discuss. Fellas, how you been, man? It's been a busy last few weeks. We got a lot to get into today.
Yeah, look, I'm good. Excited to get into this podcast. First of all, I did my first women's series tournament last weekend in Chengdu, so it was really nice to do. I'm happy with the results, both for the Dutch national team winning that, as well as my commentary. So, yeah, it's been good.
Quite stellar job, my friend. Quite stellar job. I listened to you.
Thank you.
Absolutely amazing. You did your thing. Shout out to Dreesen. We got a nice little interview with her as well, Noche. But also, I was laughing because Boz was kind of doing some foreshadowing. He was doing kind of getting you forcing because we saw someone winning with not kind of unexpected. We kind of put them around sixth place. I mean, I did, but they're definitely going up in the ladder for the Lithuanians. But I'm just excited to talk about this couple of no masters because some teams are looking scary.
We got all that and much more coming up on Word on
the Streets.
Okay.
Man.
All right. We said there was a lot to talk about, and we never lie. So we're going to start every podcast pretty much from here going forward with the top news items of the last week or so. And for that, I turn it over to Boz. Boz, what we got going on?
Well, a lot, actually. Big news coming out of FIBA last week, an announcement of where the World Cup in 2026 will be held. It's going to be in Poland, in Warsaw, after the success of the Under-23 World Cup in Lublin, which I was a part of as a commentator. It was a really cool tournament. Now we're going to head to the Polish capital, and we're going to have a Seniors World Cup there. Excited. I've never been to Warsaw. I'm hoping to go. Kyle, you're for sure going to be there. Vince, let's get you there as well. It's a cool country, and I'm excited for Polish 3x3 to take this next step because they've been, internationally, they've been on the brink, right? And you can't say that about a team that's made the Olympics twice, but I'm still going to do it. Like, they've been right there. I think they can keep moving. They've got the youth. They got the talent. Now they got the World Cup as well. So,
Buzz, you called it a seniors. You called it a seniors World Cup. You made it sound like 65 plus playing in this World Cup.
Walking 3x3 basketball, everybody in Warsaw, Poland.
Gonna have fun.
I think that's dope, man. You know, I've never, ever been to Poland. Never covered a 3x3 tournament there. Obviously, they've had, they've had their fingerprints on 3x3 over the last 10 years or so. You remember Michael Hicks being one of the more popular players that play for Poland. And we saw when Przemysław Zamoyski made the Olympics the last two editions, so in Paris and in Tokyo. So I think it's going to be cool, man. I spent some time checking out the city, but I can tell they're excited. I'm interested to see what the venues will look like, but that's going to be dope.
I'm surprised, man. You and Michael Hicks were connected at the hip. You guys look like you guys could have been twins at birth, and you never went to his backyard and hung out ever?
I went to a city called Konin.
Okay.
But never Warsaw. Nice. I think it's called Konin. I could be wrong.
Okay.
But yeah, I visited. That's the only city in Poland I've been to.
Okay, dope.
All right. Well, moving on, we got another news item out of FIBA this week. They've launched a team reward program for the top teams, which is actually something I think is really cool. They're going to provide the top teams with some financial support. They do have to get consistent engagement into the pro circuit and around the tournaments with fans and all the other things. It's to help them invest in logistics, athlete development, all that good stuff. But I think it's really cool, right? It's going to give the top teams another source of income to expand their programs, to stay at the top. It's going to have other teams fighting for those positions because this is based on the end of the year rankings, team rankings for FIBA. They'll do some promotional events, some community outreach stuff, which I think is really cool as well because it'll expand our game globally. I think it'll get that oil spill bigger. I guess that's a Dutch saying, but we'll keep going with it. And Alex Sanchez, the managing director for FIBA 3x3, said it's more than just financial support. It's to give the teams the tools and recognitions of their role as ambassadors. So I think it's a really cool new concept. I'm all for it. What do you guys think?
I mean, I want to say same here. There's more incentive for you to work harder because, as you know, with 3x3, sometimes we fumble and it's more of a juggle of the same top teams that are up there. Now it gives more incentive for more countries to be like, hey, look, you're going to invest. The investment's going to come back. All right. More people now would then look at the game. And I think the engagement is going to go higher because if you start giving some people more awards and, accommodations, I mean, right, look at the NBA. We start giving the clutch award to Mr. Brunson and people are going like, when did this award come from? But as a player, and no matter what, you want to be acknowledged somehow. And to get something in your pocket, I think it's a great thing. And plus, again, it just expands 3x3 more.
Yeah,
well,
sure.
Listen, I've been saying for a long time that money talks. I didn't create that saying, but listen, money talks, and to have a lucrative incentive to get players more engaged, to keep franchises in place. I think it's a good thing, not just for the short term of the league, but for the long term. And since this is just kind of the inception, this program I expect it to continue to grow. We're going to see some of the results of whether or not we're able to retain more players, keep more teams together, for a longer amount of time. So when I read that article, I said, good. I'm sure the players are happy. And, it adds a little bit more incentive, a little more fuel to the fire heading into this year, into next season, too.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Moving on. We finished up a challenger last weekend, besides all the action from Chengdu. Lucille Challenger, Toulouse's first challenger win of the season. First event with Raphael Wilson on the squad, who averaged a cool 5.2 points per game. Other teams qualifying from there, Lehman, who made it to the finals, they got their first minutes of Nemanja Zigan, who I was skeptic about, but that guy can hoop. Dear Lord.
Yo, I can't wait to see him on the tour. Yeah.
7 points per game for the new ad, and he yanked on a couple of dudes, so I am excited for him.
Pause.
Man, I ain't gonna lie. I looked at Zigan and I know, and hey, man, we wanted one podcast without, it's you, Kyle.
Hey.
It's you.
Hey.
What?
I couldn't let that slide, bro.
Yeah.
All right, Butter. Anyway, but I was gonna say, watching Zigan, Boz may get this. There was a cartoon named Zoids, and Zoids was about like these animals that can like put different kinds of attributes to them, different weapons. He was looking like a Zoid out there because I was watching about him. Like at any time, he added a cannon, he added a shotgun, he added a shield. So on the tour, let's see what he's going to do against quote unquote real competition, but he's looking like a deadly addition to that.
Yeah, look, I mean, again, first time seeing him, but it looks like he has unlocked a lot of their offense. So, I'm curious to see them in Amsterdam coming up here. Last team qualifying was a bit contentious. People might not get this. This is a rule. Partizan came in third. Didn't get the qualification, though, because of the nationality rule. You can only qualify one team from one country through a challenger tournament. So that means Partizan, with Lehman already qualifying, couldn't make it, even though they came in third. So, the qualification for Amsterdam falls to fourth place, which was Carolina. So the Puerto Ricans will be in Amsterdam as well. Some other stuff, Gargdai, I've had trouble pronouncing that. They're up to 2 World Tour spots now. They won a quest in France, picking up a spot for the Ulaanbaatar Masters. You guys might remember this is Darius Tarvidis' team. And then lastly, not much of a qualification, but a new team from Bahrain popped up, Team Sif. And apparently a lot of belief in this team because somehow and some way, I'm not sure how they got these, but they got the host wildcards to the Hong Kong, Debrecen, and Abu Dhabi Masters, as well as 2 challengers. Wow. Yeah, money talks.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. Might have been some trades involved there, but I don't know. That was wild to see for me. They're up to 5 pro circuit tournaments without having to qualify anywhere. So we'll see if they can actually bring the fire. I'm curious to see what they're going to look like. Is this like Rifa's training buddies, or is there going to be a second real pro team popping up from Bahrain? Who knows? No roster yet, so we'll see.
That's interesting to me. And I mean, who's going to play on that roster? And is it going to be a bunch of internationals? I mean, it's going to be some, but what local talent have we seen in Bahrain? Can you name me one? No.
Nope.
Watch
the local.
No.
That's why I'm curious.
I
That's
don't
why
want
I'm
to get
curious.
canceled. Nope. I'm like, no. Mm-mm.
Yeah, no. I'm gonna leave that one. We'll see whatever they produce. When they come up with their roster, I'm sure we'll talk about it more.
Yeah.
All right, top 10 in the standings. No World Tour standings published just yet, so we're gonna look at the top 10 ranked teams in the men's field. They've remained the same from our season start. Remember, those top 10 teams made it into the Utsunomiya opener. Some spots changed, though. Amsterdam moves up 2 to the second spot. That makes Miami and Toulouse drop 1 to 3 and 4. Round Vars moving up to 5. And Vienna down to 6. The rest remains the same, but Chongming getting dangerously close, moving up 2 spots to grab number 11. So Batman and Robin out there getting closer and closer to that top 10 again. It seems like Chongming is taking the pro circuit serious this year. I'm very excited for that.
Yeah, I actually talked to them last year. You know, they were in between playing in the 3x3 EXC or whatever league that is that they're playing. No disrespect, right? But I talked to them in Chengdu, and they say that the boss says that the focus this year is FIBA 3x3 primarily. So I think that's good news.
All right. I got 2 more news items for y'all, or at least 2 more sections here. I got roster moves. Amsterdam adding a 6th player, Daan van Tilburg, who played on Utrecht last year to the point of 3.5 points per game and 3.1 rebounds, a former member of the Dutch youth national teams. And I talked to Coach Aaron Royer, and he said he's been doing so well in practice that he's deserved the spot. Gives them a little bit of flexibility and breathing room, as they had 5 players to their roster, but one of those players is retired. Arvin Slachter is still on the team, but not playing, not practicing. So they add Daan van Tilburg as a little bit of security. Any thoughts?
Well, Vince, you can. I mean, I know they needed a 6th in rotation. I was curious to see who they would add, but I questioned some of the depth in terms of the level of talent that you can select to play on the pro teams in the Netherlands. I think that they're a little bit top heavy, but I haven't seen much of the guy, so I'm going to reserve my opinion until I actually watch him play some real games.
Same here, but I'm just saying they have a nice little addition who's more like a connection, because I think that's his new nickname for now, the Bout Connection. To me, impress the bejesus out of me. He was a pastry that you get literally on them side streets that we were walking, boss, and I was wearing, I ain't gonna say it now because I'm saying he's sweet, but I ain't gonna say that out loud now. But like this guy got some game, and he kind of reminds me of an Edwards Crewman because his body doesn't look it, but he can ball, and I'm liking that addition to Amsterdam.
Yeah, he's been very good. Some more roster moves. Carolina finishing up their roster, and no Adrian Ocasio this year. 6 players named, and Ocasio not one of them. That was surprising to me.
I like Carolina. I like Ocasio, okay, but I think that Ocasio has been too inconsistent over the years. I think that he's got to be 6'7" or so, big body, and the look of him, you say, okay, this dude's going to be able to play. Sometimes he can hit that mid-range jumper. Next game, he can't buy one. So the inconsistency, I think, with him just not knowing what you're going to get is probably a big reason he's not on the roster. No hate to Ocasio, but I'm not exactly mad at the move.
All right. A new team popped up from the Netherlands, a 3rd pro team actually, ranked 27th in the team rankings. They have Julian Jaring on the team, but he's retired, so I'm sure they just added him for his points. And it's the former under 23 3x3 national team players. Timo Slont, Joost Poels, Jaro Abrams are the 3 players rounding out the 4 players now listed. Curious to see what they can do, obviously, because they're from my country. And then last but not least, and this was a shocker to me, the Skyliners added a 5th player. Now, this is former Team Dusseldorf. The Skyliners added a 5th player to the roster, and it's not what you'd expect. Steve Sir back in the pro circuit. Dear Lord. Look, hey, I'm not mad at this move, actually.
Why? Vince, you gonna disrespect the sheriff like that?
I'm not disrespecting him. I'm not saying okay. His game is not like a hairline in which you got to let it go. He will always be a dope. You can do what you want. I'll let mine go, but he will always be an amazing shooter. He's always be a competitor. But he's doing us a Michael Jordan. He's going all around, and he's going on the Wizards for the final hurrah. Like, this is like, hey man, we had the parade, we gave you the flowers, we homage to you, but you're coming back. Hey, look, I give you, if you get your knees can handle it, if your wrist is still good to shoot, dope. But come on, we love you, Steve. But how many times you're gonna give us the okie doke? Stop pump faking us. Be in or out. That's what I'm saying. That's it.
Let me swerve on this. I like this ad. I like this ad a lot because I know those guys well. I guess the Skyliners, the former Dusseldorf squad. They could really use a veteran like Steve to help them along their path. They're still a young team. I think they need shooting. They don't get consistent shooting at all. So they can get some consistent shooting out of Steve. And Steve actually last year on Ulaanbaatar was still decent enough on defense that he could get by and hit shots. And I think if he can bring that to the Skyliners, I think they will improve actually.
All right.
If only for his coaching ability to get them better.
All right. Number one, the team name, the Skyliners. It sounds like a 1976 Buick. So I don't like that to begin with. And number two, listen, Steve Kerr is probably not going to play a lot. You know, there's probably more that went into this roster move than Steve coming on as a player. Boz hit it on the nail. Steve is probably joining that team for his coaching ability. So he's going to be a player coach. He might play some, but I wouldn't expect to see Steve a ton this year. And he's still a part of the coaching staff for Ulaanbaatar as well. So I think that's gonna be his primary responsibility is remaining coach of the Mongolian teams. Sure, I'd love to see Steve keep playing. At the end of last season, I said, well, I better see you next year. So it'll be nice, you know, as you know, just a 3x3 fan to see him come back, shoot some more of them Jays. But I wouldn't expect Steve to have a big year, man. This is what he's kind of phasing himself, you know, out to that next stage, which is completely a coach.
But I just gotta say, we saw it firsthand what Disco Damo did to him. You saw what he did to the sheriff in Edmonton. That was a whip, whop, whoop, bop, bam, finishing move. So I don't know, them ankles will be able to get some peepings, because as we can see, these boys are getting faster. We're gonna talk about some other players, and some 6'7" look like lightning quick. Can Steve Kerr handle that switch off that screen off the high post?
No, and even he wouldn't tell you that. You know what? Hey, Vince, you will not be allowed back in Edmonton. I'm gonna tell you right now.
Caesar,
Go back.
I love Caesar. I love him.
We can tell. We can tell.
All right, guys. I got one more, and this is not a news item, but I just wanted to get this in here because it was the most insane thing I'd seen in a minute. A stat popped up during the Lucille Challenger last weekend. Now, Kandava played there, a new look Kandava, but they last year were known for shooting a high amount of twos, right? Like normal teams hover right around that 45 to 50% mark. They were at 60 plus, 65 at some stage of the season, which is a lot to me. That was kind of towing the line of being maybe too much. Anyway, here's the shot chart from Lucille in 2 games as they got knocked out of the pool. Kandava went 2 for 6 from 1, and 14 of 54 from 2. So 90% of their offense came from long range, and that is the most insane thing I have ever seen. Like, they did not care for a layup at all. They had no free throws. They didn't get close to the basket. They just wanted to shoot twos. It was ridiculous to me. Ridiculous.
You put that in the chat, and I saw that, and I said, that can't be right.
That's a glitch.
That can't be right. 6 1-point attempts, and everything else was twos. But then I thought about it, and I said, could they be starting a new trend of 3x3? Imagine if they shoot it at a high percentage, right?
I hope not.
Imagine if you have a team full of just straight shooters. Why would you take ones? You know,
so you can get more more space on a 2 instead of a hand in your face.
If you got the shooters, up the volume, man. It'll make the 10-minute sprint quicker. I don't think they have the shooters. That's why the
Yeah, maybe
Oh
not.
my God. They're gonna. You can't curry 3x3. Don't curry 3x3. 3x3 is 3x3 of what we got. I mean, we got a lot of just nice going down low, getting the elbows, going to the rim, great crossovers. You don't have to be bombing every 5 seconds. No, I disagree with it. I don't want that. I want some good old fashioned street ball. That's what I want.
Now we'll talk about that good old-fashioned street ball in the next segment here. Let's take a quick pause before we get into what happened in Utsunomiya and Chengdu.
All right, so as Boz mentioned, we're going to get into the first two tournaments to start the season. It's been that long since we did our last podcast. Jeez Louise. So we have the Utsunomiya opener, then we had Chengdu. We'll start with the Utsunomiya opener. And I got to admit, I got to eat some crow. I know that's an old school phrase, guys. Miami wins it over Amsterdam. Oob finished third. But Boz and I, and maybe even you too, Vince, we all picked Oob
Yes,
to run away with that tournament. And I might have misjudged some teams. I might have overvalued Oob. I thought they'd come into the season, with haymakers. And I certainly undervalued Miami because I wasn't sure how Henry Caruso would fit. And he fit in seamlessly. That team was, incredible. Incredible. We'll get into our Power 5 rankings later. But I'm telling you right now, my Power 5 this week is a whole lot different than the start of the season.
yes.
I got to give him credit. I know Mitch Hahn got MVP. Big shout out to Big Cindy because he was hooping. But I thought his biggest impact was mainly day one, first two pool play games. I thought Dylan Travis might have stole that MVP with his performance on the second day. From the quarterfinals on, the real deal was killing it defensively, but that offense, that throwback to Omaha 3-ball, Dylan Travis showed up, and it made all the difference for Miami and getting that Utsunomiya opener crown. So shout out to them, and maybe I'll foreshadow a little bit. They might be at the top of the rankings. I don't know. Maybe.
No.
Hey,
No.
this ain't a home.
No.
This ain't a home. We'll probably debate this later, but you can't tell me a team that's tougher than them right now. That one opened my eyes. What y'all think about? And obviously, me and Boz got a chance to call that. Which Boz, you go first, and then Chang, if you don't mind.
Look, I love the vibes out in Utsunomiya. Top 10 teams in the world. You could see some jitters with some of the squads. It's early season. People were still kind of getting in that real 3x3 grind and shape. I did like Miami a lot. I got to agree with you. Amsterdam, same thing. Both teams I may or may not have ranked too low in my preseason Power 5s. We'll get to that when we get to the Power 5s. I did some calculations, though. For the whole weekend, I think, on average, I had about 3.7 gyoza per hour, and I think that's right where I wanted it to be. Right where I wanted it to be. It was great, man.
We tore something down. Matter of fact, as soon as me and Boz got there, we had long flights. As soon as we touched down, got to the hotel after that long 2-hour bus ride, we went straight to the gyoza spot, didn't we, Boz?
Yes, we did. Gyoza spot, Japanese drink, and then it was smooth sailing from there. But look, no, I as far as teams and not dumplings, I think some teams really showed us something out there. So I was happy. Vince, what'd you think? You watched it from home, obviously?
I watched it from home. I mean, I gotta admit that crossover. I think it was Hirosuka and Tanoz in the QDs. I saw that. My neighbors had to knock on my door to make sure I was good. They already know I had a broken hand. They thought I fell because all I went was, you saw it too, right, Kyle? Bro,
I hated that we weren't calling that QD.
It was in the QD.
Hey, that's top 5 most vicious crossovers. Pavlovich, I talked to him about it in Chengdu. I said, yo, man, what happened, bro, in the QD with the crossover? I didn't know how to approach you. He's like, oh, it looked bad because I caught a cramp.
That was an ankle annihilator. No.
You caught a cramp, bro?
Start tying his shoelaces after.
His ankle will never be the same.
Yo, I saw that. So here's the thing. If a qualifying draw was like that, I was ready for this tournament. Now, I will say, Big Cinnamon became paprika. This man was spicy. Spicy. Not only, I mean, we all know Big Cinny can shoot, but the way he was attacking the rim, I think James Parrott injected him with something before. Very impressed, Miami, but I got some insider. You know, I congratulate everybody. I make sure I love 3x3 all around. But Team Miami had a message for you, Kyle. They said straight up, they're listening to the pod.
I know.
And they were staring at you on purpose. Yes. They were literally, because you were talking about it like this. Yo, why is everybody like, because Han did it. Dylan kind of does it, but he's a nice guy. Caruso, you don't know where he's looking at sometimes. But James Parrott was looking at you like, and they hit me up. They said, no, we listened to the pod. They love the pod. And shout out to Miami. But they said, hey, we're trying to prove that big mouth down. And I didn't say it like that. But I got to admit, that was one of the best forms of Miami USA basketball I ever seen, to incorporate so many different shooters. The defense was great. I mean, I was highly impressed by Miami. They're the tail of the tape.
Miami. Are you listening, Miami? Are you listening? Other teams. It's never personal. I didn't say that they were a bad team. I just put them at number 5 in my power rankings, right? There were other teams that could have been upset with me. Right on Vars Hoptrans could have easily been mad at me because they didn't even make my top 5. And they weren't angry with me. But yeah, you're right, Vince. Every time they won, they were glaring at me like I was the enemy. I said, wait. And then I found out later, they said, yeah, we listened to the podcast. You put us at 5. Hey, what am I supposed to do? Listen, you've added a big new piece to your roster. I didn't know how the system would be. I didn't know if Dylan Travis was going to play the way that he did. Yes. I mean, to be frank and to be honest, we haven't seen Dylan play that well offensively in years because he was transitioning, right? So listen, it's justified. They proved me wrong. I think when they play like that, I don't know if anybody can beat them. If Amsterdam couldn't do it, if who couldn't do it, the question is, can they play that way consistently? Can Mitch Hahn deliver like he did in Utsunomiya consistently? Can they get more than 2 points out of Dylan Travis consistently? Henry Caruso is going to be Caruso.
Yep.
Who's going to be the alpha dog on the team? Is it James Parrott? Is it Mitch Hahn? These are all serious questions, but it's no hate. It's no hate. That was my pick. I stand by it. But now things are changing.
Are we going to skip over the fact that James Parrott ended a man's basketball career?
Oh, my goodness.
Oh,
the
God.
Meteor Jam? The Meteor Jam? Dude, I was watching Kuroko no Basketball. Shout out to my anime fans. Kagami, when I was trying to find that gif, that, like, the way he lifted and just went.
He extended, bro. He extended. His arm was like all the way on, and he did it on the little Asian guy, man. It was
game too. That was game too, bro.
You know, sometimes you just take it too far, James. Sometimes you gotta let that little guy survive. And he just did it so like cavalier, so calm. He dunked on the dude, extended over his head, and then he just laid on the ground like he had done nothing. Me and Boz are in the seat. They got a great picture. We can put that on the pod.
I saw that.
Me and Boz just completely lost it because we knew that he was headhunting, right? James Parrott is always low key looking to catch a body. I'm like, dang, they playing against this shorter team. James ain't caught one yet, but Dylan set him up, and then destruction followed.
Kyle said, "Help me, help me,
please,
well,
help."
Two things I want to notice though. 2 things. So just talk about jam. I didn't know, and I'm just saying for Vienna, I didn't know Fabio had a reverse jam in him. I didn't know he could get up like that. When Sohail came out, he had a nice little dunk. I was like, oh, is that going to be a change in this game that he's trying to headhunt a little bit? Maybe but play above the rim.
You know, I knew that he was athletic. Like so, you know, that reverse. I ain't throwing no shade. It was all right. It wasn't a double pump reverse. It was just, he took off, he leaned into it, yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool. Yeah, so that's fine. But come on, man, that wasn't that nice though.
I didn't mind it. But
Okay.
let's put a bow on Utsunomiya and let's move on over to Chengdu. I'll start it off because I hosted the women's series actually. So it was a double event, women's series and a world tour as a celebration of the 10 years of FIBA 3x3 tournaments out in Chengdu. I've had the luxury of being there a couple of times. I was actually a part of, I think, edition 2 in 2016, way back when. But look, women's series was cool. The Dutch team won. Str33ts MVP, or world number 1, picking up steam right at the start of the season. But look, guys, I don't know if you watched any of this. It was the most dominant performance I have ever seen in my entire 3x3 life. This was ridiculous. They scored 20.8 points per game, and they allowed 9.2 on average. Their average margin of victory was close to 12 points.
It's crazy.
No team hung with them past the 5-minute mark. It was ridiculous.
I was shocked because I thought that iteration of Australia would be a challenge for them, and I thought wrong.
We all did.
Str33ts is the number 1 ranked women's player in the world. She proved it to start the season. I don't know what it is about just Dutch teams in general, men and women. It's their bread and butter is always on the defensive end. It starts with defense, and the offense comes as a byproduct of the defense. They just wear you down. You can hardly get any clear looks at the bucket. And that was dominant. I actually spent some time my first day there just sitting and watching a few of the women's series games, and I saw them play, and I'm like, yeah. They're going to be tough this year. I want to see them against the top level competition, however, which I don't think was there in Chengdu.
I mean, and you gotta give Notre her flowers. 62% from 1, but 50% from 2, going behind the arc, knocking it down, changing the game. I mean, I was talking to a homie from Miss Erica Day. She works out there in the Philippines. So I was talking, maybe the Philippines had a chance, but no, it was pure Orange Lions. I couldn't keep my eyes off them. They're going to be a problem this year, but we always got to go against Canada. Let's see how they're going to go. But yeah, they're nice.
No, that's something we'll see in Amsterdam, I believe. Kyle, go ahead because I got 1 or 2 more things from that tournament.
Yeah, North just got better and better. Well, Chengdu, it was hot as bleep. It was so hot out there the first day, but I think that day 2 especially was really competitive. Once we got into the quarterfinals, in my honest opinion, I thought day 1, I don't know if it was just me, but it was a little sluggish in my opinion. Here's my thoughts on Chengdu. Radon Virus Hop Trans get their first win of the season in Chengdu. I left them out of the Power 5. I will not do that again. Aurelius Pukelis is an MVP caliber player, okay? He might be the toughest player to game plan for in 3x3. I know we got Dr. Strange. I know we got Hype Worthy. But the little alien is not from here. Y'all see what he can do when he steps beyond that arc. He is knocked down from the 2-point arc. He can put it on the ground too. His passing's underrated. He's an absolute bull on the inside. And when that tandem is going with him and Jalgis, I'm honestly trying to think of a better duo. Carlos Lasmanis and Miezes, I think they had their time. I wouldn't, in this day and age, they aren't the best duo. Who would compare?
Word the NBA?
No, but me a big man.
No, but I
get
it. I get it.
No. It doesn't have to be a big.
Not be big?
He said no, but Worthy and BA would be in discussion, but BA has got to be more consistent to me for that to be a relevant argument. I can't think of a duo that's more dangerous than those two. And then when you throw in Vangelis, when he's shooting the ball consistently beyond the 2-point arc, mid range, Kumpis to me is like Caruso for Miami. He's energy. He's rebounding. He's defense. He's athleticism. I think they got the perfect mixture on that team. The chemistry showed. And for them to beat Amsterdam in the final, Amsterdam go to back-to-back finals, by the way. For them to beat Amsterdam, who many people consider to be the best team in 3x3 now, not only Amsterdam, they smacked up on Oob too along the way to get that title. I might have a new number one. Did I say that already?
Yeah, you already said.
I might have a new number. Well, that just adds to the drama. Throw Radon Varus Hop Trends in this, but it was Radon Varus, Amsterdam, Hangzhou, Chongming, and London to round out the top 5. I was really impressed. I thought Chongming played well. Shout out to London too. I think they played to their potential. But my biggest shock was Hangzhou.
Somebody may or may not have picked him as a sleeper. I don't know who.
Boss. I checked the messages too. You know what? My bad. I should have shouted you out. But I don't think we disagree with you. I don't think we disagree with you on Hangzhou. But your boy, the new ad,
Alexander Lazic.
Yeah.
Can we wait on that?
We'll wait. I'll say this.
I just kind of, I said a lot, but yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. Wait, so I'll say this about Hangzhou before I get my thoughts on some other stuff here, and then Vince, you can go. They got one more guy coming. I kind of foreshadowed this. Filip Kaliderovic now added to the roster, and that guy was the reason that they won the 3x3 XE series. He's a combo guard. He can pass. He can lob it up to Lazic. He can create his own shot. So they get another shot creator on that squad, probably subbing in for you. The Chinese, not any of you guys. I hope you guys don't make a roster and a team. Subbing in for you, and I think he might be active in Amsterdam. We'll see. But one more thing on Radon Varus, and so what I'm trying to do now, and this is a clear plug. I'm writing an article on what I see in 3x3 every weekend. It's on Substack. It's Substack really Word on the Street. It's called 3x3 Thoughts. But I put a link in there of a clip that on my last article of a clip of a beautifully played offense by Radon Varus. It's so simple, but they get a handoff going for Vingelis, who it's on the 45-degree outside of the arc 2-point line, and he moves towards that spot on the free throw line that he likes to shoot from. If you switch that as Amsterdam, which is an undersized team, if you switch that, you get the Lithuanian in a post up against whoever. And he's gonna demolish them. If you don't switch it, and if you play an over defense with a drop, which is what Amsterdam ended up doing, then you get either a Vingelis look from his favorite spot on the court, which is the right elbow free throw line, and then Pukelis pops and he's a 40% 2-point shooter. It's unguardable. It's completely unguardable. It's ridiculous. That was pure basketball poetry to me. Anyways. Anything else from Chengdu besides the fact that Oob was again terrible?
I mean, I got it.
We kind of glazed over that, didn't we?
Well, we can glaze over because Oob didn't look like they want to be there, but I have to say, give more flowers to Radon Varus, the Lithuanian. Aurelius Pukelis, this man is not only a fantastic player, his basketball IQ is amazing. The way he positions himself on the court, he doesn't have to do much. All he does have to do is turn, and he scores. He was beating up the number one player in the world. I'm talking about height worthy in the post. I know people say, hey, mouse in the house. What? But who I really want to talk about, because again, we could talk about Kumpets playing above the rim, talk about Vingelis mid-range. Jalgis, Evel Knievel was on a mission. There was a game, I think it was against Ulaanbaatar. This man did a Drake squared. And what I mean by that, back to back to back to back. You could not stop him. He did the same. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Man went to the right side, bomb, get it, caught again, jab set, bomb, going out, knocking it. I personally have seen him play. I never see him go off like that. And I looked at that and went, Evel Knievel, he's trying to jump the Grand Canyon, the Empire State Building, and the Great Wall at the same time. Thank you for that. I give it to you, Joggers.
I'm surprised you remember Evel Knievel. That's a really I'm actually thinking about changing this nickname. Should I, or should I keep it?
I like it.
But the reason why is because he plays recklessly, right? With reckless abandon. When he drives to the bucket, man, he puts that head down. He's like a bull, but he's got great touch. He can finish.
Yep.
I gotta toot my own horn here. I told y'all to look out for Evaldas Joggers coming to this year. Look at the way he ended 2024. He showed me then that he's not just an ornament on that team.
Mm-hmm.
He is a legitimate 1A player. And when needed to be your number one, he proved he can do that too, to the 10 a game. So I was happy for Radon Bar's Top Treads. There's a team I wanted to mention that stood out to me. Chengdu, I do want to mention them again. I think the Dog Pound is going to be serious this year. It's kind of a weird collection of players, but I think with Bones and Jovanovic and Lasic now with that team, man, they're going to be special. But this team started in the qualifying draw. Young Serbian team called Vračar. Right. Came into the main draw out of the QD. This is their under 23 team with Djordjevic, Jokic, Labovic, and Šuput. This Jokic kid is going to be special. You heard me say it right here today on this podcast. He's 20 years old. The kid is built. I'm not sure if he was their leading scorer, but he was top 2 on that team. That young Serbian team, Vračar, that to me is the future for Serbia. I don't know what the current Serbian teams are looking like right now. It's not. I'm not so optimistic, but the youth movement, that team, look out for that squad. And lastly, this is a player. I got to give Boz credit with this. Dion Long.
No, wait.
Jean Dion Long.
Wait.
Jean Dion Long.
Wait for this man.
Yo.
Oh my God.
Yo.
Yes.
Hey.
Jiayo. Yes.
Hey. Jean Dion Long, bro. He finished second on the scoring charts. He was unstoppable. 34 points in the tournament. I had questions about Chong Ming, but I think actually this is no hate to Forte. That's a better Chong Ming team without him. I'm sorry. Am I lying?
No, I'll take my credits. It's all right. No, I agree.
Keep it above. With Zichao Xiang, Zhang Dianlong, Mieses, and Las Manas. Is that not the right mixture of players on that team? The chemistry, the way they move, the versatility.
I fully agree. I think they have the right balance. Look, Forte is a wrecking ball, a one-man wrecking crew, actually, but he gets them out of the rhythm. Las Manas and Mies have to kind of figure out how to work around him, and I think Zhang fits into that chemistry and is still a dominant force on the block if he wants to be. So I was excited to hear from you, actually, that they're going to be taking the pro circuit this year very seriously. I want to get into some new stuff, though. So a couple of games coming up here, but if not a game, but from those first 2 tournaments, I would like you both to pick a team that you loved and pick a team that you didn't love. Right, and then we'll go with the teams we loved first, and I kick it off because it's very easy for me. There's only one team that made 2 finals this year. Bit of a homer pick, possibly. No, I'll keep it short. Amsterdam. I like the new formation, and again, they're making me eat my words because I didn't rank them high in my top 5. I think I ranked them 4th to start the season. But 2 finals, I gotta say the vibes check out. So they seem to be really together with these 4 players. Defense actually has not been that bad. I think all 4 players have stepped up. They played a version of team defense, and they're getting some stops. They're averaging the same amount of rebounds as last year, but I do have to say the eye tests in both final games say they're getting out rebounded. I mean, Caruso got 10 rebounds against them alone, and they did. They went out rebounded 13-7 against Radon. So they're outsized, but they have so many offensive weapons, man. They got 3 shooters on the court at all times. They got a lob threat in Jandrisa. They can get the pick and roll game going with his screening, and I like the guard-to-guard screen. So I'm actually very impressed with their early season returns after losing Arvin Slachter, which I thought would be a bigger hit to the squad.
And the guard-to-guard screens was one of your biggest concerns coming into the season with them, right?
Exactly. and they've worked it out. And again, even mismatches in the post against Maarten Bouknecht, he's actually kind of stood his ground on a few of those.
I had to give him some his flowers on the broadcast too, because I thought he would get killed. But there's a lot more dog in Maarten Bouknecht, I think, than people assume, including myself. You know, he's pretty reserved. He seems like a quiet guy, but he's a ruffian, man. He's not afraid to mix it up.
It looked like he was going to scrap a couple of times, but also he's not scared to shoot no matter who you are. I remember this play. It was kind of as like a fake handoff, I think from Worthy, and he just went. And for me to see a man of that kind of stature to be that quick, and he just had an open lane to the basket, shows that he does have the green light to go. We all know BA could do mid. You know, we know Jan is okay when it comes to, you know, being the big fella, but he could be a lot more. But I'm telling you, the whole time I'm watching it, and I give you credit, Kyle, the connection. This man looks like it's that missing jigsaw piece that we thought we're going to miss from Arvin Slaughter, and now he's filling it pretty nicely. So I'm liking it.
How apropos for him to live up to that nickname, the connection. He's that connective tissue for Amsterdam, and could be the X factor in terms of just how successful they are. All right, Boz, the team that's vibing to me, I'm gonna stick with the Utsunomiya opener, man. I didn't get to see Miami, obviously, in Chengdu, but I'm still feeling the vibes from Utsunomiya, man. I cannot wait to see this team back in action, because obviously consistency for me is most important. And I want to see if they can play at that level again. If they can do it back-to-back tournaments, then I think that it's going to be very difficult to beat Miami this year. I think they just played in the the US 3X Nationals. They finished runners. Yeah, they finished runners up.
Yeah, the squad that won, and that's actually kind of an underrated item on. I think a couple of G League guys, Joe Wieskamp on the squad, and guess who showed up? Devin Gilligan, former pro in Japan.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah,
we'll see them. We'll see them in Edmonton. But anyway, that you know, I'm curious because I have nothing to add on Miami. I like them a lot. I think that they're doing good things, and I didn't expect Caruso to kind of join their system so early, and I think he did. And I think he doesn't need the ball. He works really hard. He wants to win. All the guys seem to accept that. And look, they're dangerous, man. Yeah. I'm curious though, VC, what you got for a team?
I mean, I'm going to talk about my sleeper, Chongmi. I'm going to talk about them more. No reason why is this. We all know the Maze and Batman, or Batman and Robin, whatever combination they were. I kind of felt like they were too lackadaisical in Chengdu, though. If you watch some of the shots that Carlos Miles would do, he'll shoot and kind of put his hands down and kind of run to get, like, kind of jog to play offense. But to see Zhang being that missing piece, I mean, against Shigagawa, if I pronounced that wrong, sorry. Everybody was cold. Zhang steps up, 7 for 7, and scores 12 points. When you have a player like that who is amongst giants, and we're going to call them because they are Olympians, they are gold medalists, and can play to that caliber, and we do talk about how China is like Metabots. They just want to put different, pieces, see what happens. Zhang kind of does this, whatever. But to see that all the mesh together, I was highly impressed, and I'm kind of curious, once they get some momentum, where they're going to end up in the rankings of 3x3. So that's my team. I was pleasantly surprised to see.
Yeah, Miezes has got to play a lot better than the way he played. Cool. Yeah, he was 4 of 24 from deep. You hardly ever see Miezes shoot it that poorly. So I think the ceiling is even higher. We haven't seen Chong Ming's best game yet. Yep. Not a bad pick, but nobody picked Radonvar's Hop Trans almost, which is odd.
I got something for later. Lithuania, I actually have it in my script. I have a whole bit just for you. I'm not putting it here. I'm putting it with the meat and potatoes.
All right, but look, Chongming actually already in 6 pro circuit tournaments. They got 4 challengers to their name, so I think we're going to be seeing a lot of them.
Nice.
All right. We'll get to that later, but right now, we got the Amster.
Oh no! Teams you didn't love. We're forgetting this little piece here.
Right.
I want to hear. I want to hear about the teams you didn't like as much. So, go ahead.
All right. I got a sneaky suspicion when it comes to the team that we dislike the most or the most disappointed in. I think it's going to be unanimous, but I got to go with Ooh. Got I what I got to go with Ooh, but they can't be mad, man, because the, I'm at a loss for words when it comes to them this season, because the expectations for me were really high. I thought, and listen, they finished third in Utsunomiya. I mean, that's by all measurable standards, that's not bad, man. You finished top 3 with the top 10 ranked teams playing in that tournament, but they're oob, y'all. They're oob. They're not supposed to. They're supposed to at least make the final. Then you go to Chengdu, and oob finished 8th. They get bounced in the quarterfinals, playing against Radon Varas Hop Trans, a team that they normally bully. I mean, they've had the Lithuanians number for years now, and Radon Varas, I mean, they were the aggressors. They were the bullies in that game. Oob looks out of sorts. They look like they're thinking too much. You can see the frustration. They didn't have Dejan Majstorovic for that tournament. He had been dealing with some back issues, even dating back to Utsunomiya. So that's why they told me that he didn't play. But they look a mess, man. And it overshadows Strahinia's 2-point shooting this year. He's hovering around 40%. He shot it pretty well from beyond the arc. Yep. But nobody's playing to level, man. Nobody's playing to level. Naranjic disappointed me. I think Barac could even step it up more. Brankovic played pretty well day one, right? But every game they played, it was difficult. They went to 2 overtime games in their first 3 contests, right? And I don't see light at the end of the tunnel. I don't know how they turned it around so quickly. I don't know if they can flip a switch. I don't know if other teams have just flat out figured them out. But it don't look good for Oob right now. So my most disappointing team.
I don't know if you're going to agree, because I'm with Kyle right now, Buzz. So if you have a different team,
I got
you want to go.
Team, so go ahead.
Right, so
go ahead.
If you look at the Ranavaras game versus Oob, if you looked at the stats, Oob didn't score until 8:02. 2 minutes go past, and you don't have a bucket on the scoreboard with your type of offense that you should be able to either get to the rim off an easy handoff or make a shot for yourself. We always talk about how Dr. Strange, when we're talking about Worthy, who you said it too, who you want the ball in the hand for the last shot to make their own shot, and you're saying that Dr. Strange is that dude. So you tell me he couldn't find a rhythm at all? Remember we were doing the interview with
yes, I did not say Dr. Strange would be my selection.
But who was your selection then?
I said my
discussion though.
Sorry, you said right. My bad. But either way, but my choice wasn't there. To see them play like that, I mean, I was impressed from Utsunomiya. Brankovic had this crazy ankle braid that I called the Bronco ankle takeover on the Gladiator. I don't know if he even had that in his bag. You know, he had bomb. I said, okay. But third, Utsunomiya, you go into Chengdu. I don't like saying this because sometimes I think that teams don't want to be there. They just looked it's gassed, just completely disheveled. They couldn't find anything. They had 2 left feet on their hands. There's nothing more I can say. Come on, I'm not saying the best, we do better.
They scored 16 points. They scored 16 points in that quarterfinal against Radon Varas.
Yep.
2 of 13 from beyond the arc. Mm-hmm. They're not defending like they did last year, and they're not scoring like they did last year.
Yep. Hey,
to me, and I think I've mentioned this on a previous spot, it feels like they've lost their sense of inevitability last year, and then this offseason they told themselves we got to get it back. So they started practicing really hard. But by acknowledging the fact that they lost it, they put themselves at level with the other teams who are now smelling blood.
Yeah.
And usually they come into the season with this air of being a step ahead, you know, maybe better than other teams or at least more experienced. They got more tools, yada, yada, yada. It's not there. And I think, you know, a lot of tension shown when they play. So, yeah, I'm curious to see. I think this could be turned around with a good win. If they can get their a good tournament in, they get some good games. But it's going to be tough. Obviously I could have picked Oob as well, but I just because I didn't want to, all agree on this item. I picked a different team, and I didn't pick this team because I don't believe in them, and also not because I don't like them, but a team that disappointed me a little bit was Basketball. And I'll tell you why. They have an abundance of talent. They are the youth and the future of 3x3 basketball, and they are young. They have a newly put together team with 2 different players from last year. But what I was hoping for is Giesman getting out of that, and I call this the Worthy 2023 syndrome, where Worthy just went off in every game. At any moment he could, he went to the basket because he could, and then he'd blow himself up, and at the end of the games he wouldn't be worth as much. And sometimes he'd have to take a seat, or his shot selection suffered. And I think Giesman has the same thing. I mean, he averaged 12.5 points per game, which is insane, right? It's really good. 2 pool games because he was out after that. 81% inside the arc, 40% from range, 3.5 rebounds, co-led the field in dunks and blocks. He was nuts. But at the end of the games, he couldn't get enough. And his teammates have been shunned out of the offense for so long that they did not have any rhythm at all and couldn't go either. Because Agiman, who was at 5 points per game last year, he only averaged 2.5. I'll give Oguni a pass. The kid is 18 years old. He's only been playing basketball for 2 years, and he's adjusting to the game of 3x3, so you get a pass.
Only 2 years?
Yes, he's been playing basketball for 2 years.
Oh, that's why I got embarrassed by Doctor Strange, because
horrible. He's 18, bro, and that's a talent right there. Muller, I don't know much about. He didn't score a point, but Agiman, at least Agiman has the talent to be better than 2.5 points per game. But if you're outside of the offense, just passing the ball to Giesman all the time, who can dominate everybody? I fully know this. But being that dominant comes with a cost, and I think it shows. And I think it showed last year, and I was hoping for an improvement. So that's why I think Basketball has to be the team I didn't love as much, even though, again, they showed great talent.
But Boz, that's more of an indictment on his teammates. Giesman did everything that he possibly could. His shot selection late in games was poor. But let's not forget, they pushed Oob, and I know Oob is having their struggles. They pushed Oob to the brink. Oob beat him 21-19.
Yep.
I mean, that's the game that if Basketball could pull out. Oob is out of the tournament. They don't even make the quarterfinals. I was disappointed in the way they played against Hangzhou.
Hangzhou,
right?
Yeah, Hangzhou.
But then again, I had to look at it and say, look, Hangzhou's a different team. They played some of the best 3x3 out there. I mean, out next to Radon Vars and maybe Amsterdam. Hangzhou was playing top level 3x3. So I forgave them for that loss. I actually didn't think they looked bad. I think this was a solid start to the season for them. I think they're going to be a hell of a lot better as the season goes on.
They will, but a part of maturing in the game of 3x3, and again, and this is, I think, what I tried to get to in my previous point, is knowing that you can't beat a team by yourself. Even if you're that good and that you can go at every point during a game. It's a 10-minute sprint, and nobody can sprint for 10 minutes. You're going to get tired. You want to be fresh at the end of games, and because you want to be fresh, you want to get your teammates involved. Just, spread the love, let everybody feed a little bit, and then dominate at the end of the game instead of going off for a bunch of points at the start, blowing yourself up, and then at the end of the game, your shot selection goes, poorly. So, again, I was hoping to see a little bit of improvement there, even though, and again, I think they played well. I think they can get out of a pool in a situation like this, though. That's what I'm trying to say.
I hear you, but I think it's also just young whippersnappers also still learn the game. There were some lessons being taught while they were playing in real time. But I'm surprised Kyle didn't drop this because Fabian Giesman is your golden child. He's your golden boy. The man averaged 12.5 points a game.
Sensational.
Come on. Yeah, sensational. I mean, I was watching, he's finding his shooter's touch as well. It's amazing how confident he was. Again, we didn't see it like that before. That now he's quick. As soon as he clears the basketball, he's turning and shooting and confident. But when you have a new kid like Ugini, who's 7'3", who's just pure bones and probably weighs 102 pounds wet, once he gets acclimated, and like you said, not many people can run for 10 minutes, but then you said 18, 20. These are young bucks. They have the endurance. They have the stamina. It, I think, also is a factor of how hot it was. Like, it was also hot. But if it's like a nice 75 and Celsius, like what, 20-something or 70?
Yeah.
I think they can run for that. But growing pains. That's what I hear what you're saying. If they weren't such a young team, I'll be like, yeah, but they're so young. They're just learning. They're learning still.
Muller's got to make a shot. He missed critical layups in that game against Ub. They probably win that game if he makes one open shot. He probably win that game. They need more for him. So look, I think they'll be fine. And also a little extra shout out to Team London, who I think have a great new add too. Yeah.
And they got more coming as well.
I'm gonna talk to him. Yeah.
All right. Well, we're gonna look ahead to the Amsterdam weekend Women's Series and World Tour in a second here. Let's take a quick pause.
Now, y'all gonna be on the ground. I'm still gonna be watching all the way here on the East Coast, right here in America. New Yorkers, what's up? Shout out to my Knicks. But I gotta admit, we're gonna be in what? Amsterdam. Damn. The venue looks dope. You know, Jesper, I'm watching the videos. I can't wait to see how it's going to turn out. I know Boz is excited. I know Kyle's going to be there. It's a match made in heaven. Second stop on the Women's Series. We can talk about that. I'm really impressed because there's 2 Netherlands teams in there. So it's going to be a fun. Let's see which Orange Lions might be a cat fight. But I'm excited. My Diali from Italy going to be there. So the rapping Ray Ray. All right, dope. I'm more excited to see Grant Allen, to see if she's going to put a dominant force from Canada. Once again, Casey Bosch is there. We got Miss Brown. We got the Puerto Rico squad that's going to be there. So I am excited to see how this is going to turn out. I still going to be, not of a homer, they're just my upstairs cousins. I still think Canada's going to be that team to watch. They're going to bring the sweetness of maple syrup, but you never know because the Netherlands got that home court advantage. What do you guys think about the Women's Series? I'm just going to ask.
Well,
I'll take.
Okay, go ahead, Bob.
Take this because I'm doing a Women's Series. Now, look, I think I'll go at this not from a sports perspective, just from an organizing perspective, right? So we've hosted World Tours and Challengers in the Netherlands for a long time, and from 3x3 Unites we started in 2021 in Utrecht. We've been trying to get the women's game at the same level. We had hosted a Women's Series qualifying during the men's games last year. We've hosted women's tournaments kind of at every stop, or we've tried to anyways. And we've finally got a Women's Series now lined up with the World Tour, so I'm very excited for that. It's now a 3-day event. Friday night's going to be the women's pools. Saturday we have both. We mix them up in sessions as well, and then Sunday we end the men's tournaments finals. So from an organizing perspective, it's been hectic. I'll say that. The organization is running at about 130%, maybe 140% to get everything done. The venue's being built, and I think that's given everybody a lot of strength and hope because it looks really fucking cool. So I'm just excited for it to start.
One thing I've learned about Netherlands 3x3, when they say something, they mean it. When they told me Worthy was on the way, they said, "Man, Kyle, you're gonna be impressed with this." I was like, "I'll see." Okay, hype Worthy. Obviously, he's lived up to it. When they told me each of the last 3, this is the 3rd time. You won't believe the venue this year. The first time, I said, "Okay, we're gonna see." When I got there, couldn't believe it. They had the cubes and all that shit up there. Then last year they said, "Oh, if you like the first time, just wait till you see this one." Then last year, I'm blown away again. I'm like, how can they keep upping this event? And guess what they're telling me this year? Oh, you thought last year was good. But hey, wait until you, man. I will not doubt them. I haven't seen any pictures of the venue. I have no idea what it's going to look like. But if they tell me it's going to be doper this year than it was last year, you better damn well believe it. But so venue aside, I'm not just saying this because Boz is here, and I do have an affinity for the Netherlands. It's one of my favorite places. But the competition, to me, this is similar to the opener. This is like an all-star. You got Amsterdam, you got Miami, you got Toulouse, you got Vienna, you got Riga, you got Lehman, you got Utrecht. I mean, I'm not putting them in those caliber teams, but the 2 Dutch teams, okay? Hangzhou is there. That young Serbian team I told you about will be in the QD. Vracar will be there. The talent is overflowing, man. And the stage is set. I know that venue is going to be rocking. We got the best of the best there. I think the spotlight is on Amsterdam, though. because they didn't play well last year in their own backyard. Talk about the men's team, right? Is this the one that they win? If they should win it, that atmosphere in the damn considered to be the best team in 3x3, defending World Tour final winners. Boz, if they can't get it done in their own backyard, I got a problem with Amsterdam for the next match. I'm just saying.
I think there's hope in the Netherlands for that. There's very much hope for that, both on the men's and the women's side, actually, because again, your number one player on the women's side is Dutch, and the men's team has gotten to the finals in the first two events of the season. But again, adding to, I think I've mentioned this in the past, playing at home is a different beast, and you got a lot of people coming to games. There's a lot of stuff happening around the tournament that you have to kind of take care of. So we'll see how they handle that. I think it's Martin's first time going through that in 3x3 gear. So I mean, look, I hope, and we'll see.
I just want to put a cherry on top. Boz, didn't you drive me to the area that they're gonna have the tournament? And you were just landing, Kyle. It was this open space right by the water. There's like pirate ships everywhere. And this is where they have like raves and concerts. There's a hotel that is on a crane. One of the most expensive hotels in Amsterdam. This place is, I wish I was, I'm about to pay a ticket myself to come because I think it's not going to be it's going to be a party. Right? It's going to be great.
Indeed. Now, I'm going to spend, me and Boz are going to get together. I'm going to spend an extra day out there because it's always good to mix a little pleasure in with work. So I got a lot of friends out there. Man, I can't wait.
And the speakeasies, man. Remember I introduced those speakeasies. So now you can go there as well. Remember the place I took you?
I have no idea what you speak of. That weekend was a blur.
Collective memory loss out there.
Anyway.
Boz, I'm surprised you had so little to say about your own tournament.
No, look, I'm very excited, but it's just I'm kind of anxious actually because look, it's a 6-month turnaround from the last tournament, and so that's already a big task to try to get the venue filled up, to try to one up yourself yet again, and it looks like it's going to happen. I know everybody at 3x3 Nights is working so hard to get it done. And now I'm just hoping for good results, right? And I'd plug way more things here. I know a lot of people are helping out, and then it's gonna be crazy. But I just want people to come out and check it out. So if you don't have a ticket, go buy one right now and come check it.
That's right. You know what Boz just did? He's gonna undersell and over deliver. I see what you did there, Boz. I see what you did there, Boz. I see what you did there. All right, guys, y'all want to wrap this up with our new Power 5 rankings, and I think we should do it every week as the season goes with the ebbs and flows. New Power 5s. All right, y'all ready? You got your list?
I got it. Do you want me to remind you guys of the list you had last time, though, just to kind of get that
yes,
going?
please.
Yeah,
please.
Just do that.
All right,
yes.
Just for everybody out there, our Power 5s to start our season or to kind of preview our season. Actually, all of us had Ub at number 1. I ended up having Toulouse 2nd, Vienna 3rd, Amsterdam 4th, and Roudonvares 5th. Kyle had Amsterdam 2nd, Toulouse 3rd, Riga 4th, and Miami 5th. And Vince mirrored Kyle besides his number 4 pick, which is not Riga, it was Vienna. Mm-hmm. So that's our starting grounds here. And now we're going to get into what's changed because obviously a lot of things have. Vince, you want to start this off?
Vince is typing like a madman.
Because it's changed. I gotta knock off. I mean, what I saw from Vienna has to be knocked off. I'm sorry, gotta be knocked off. However, this is where I'm at.
All right, 5-1. Remember, you gotta go. We gotta go last to first.
I'm putting Chong Ming now as my 5.
Oh shit!
I'm putting Chong Ming as my 5 now.
Shit.
Okay. All right.
Putting Chong Ming as my 5. All right. Still have a lot of confidence in them. I think they're gonna get better over time. They're like a fine wine. Okay. Next, I'm sorry, and y'all can hate me. Ub is now 4. Ub is now 4. I don't know if they're gonna get that momentum they need. Okay. Number 3. All right. I'm going to put it there, and I give it Lithuania by Ron Vars. I'm putting it at number 3. Put up number 3. And I don't want y'all to think I'm being a homer. I'm putting number 2 is Amsterdam, number 1 Miami. I am now putting number 1 Miami right now. The way they playing is beautiful. I'm very curious because what's going to happen is with Trey Barsley in the lineup coming up in this new tournament here in Amsterdam, now we're going to see how that fits when you have a smaller guard and a quick shooter. Once we find out if they can be dominant with Trey, then I don't think they can play anybody. They can play anybody. That's my 5.
All right, Buzz.
All right, let me go then. I'll start number 5 with a shocker as well. So I put at number 5 the dog pound in Hangzhou.
Oh,
Yeah. Look, I think they showed out in Chengdu, and I think this is going to be the standard for them to at least get to the semifinals. I like what they did with their ads. Jovanovic was at 6.5 per game. He actually shot it well from range, which is I didn't see that much for when he played for Podgorica. Lazic was at 6 points per game, and he was all over the court. Bones didn't even have to do that much at 4.3, and they add Galuderovic now as well, which I think he's going to be playing in Amsterdam. It's another offensive weapon, another guy that can play defense, that's smart, that's heady, so I like Hangzhou. At 4, I'll still give it to Toulouse, if only for that 4th-place finish in Utsunomiya, as well as the challenger win in Lucille. And I think they played well in spurts, and Utsunomiya just couldn't get enough done against that Miami team, which was, I guess, understandable because that Miami team was just really good. At 3, the Lithuanians, Radan Vars, confidence, finally, right?
Yeah.
We've been waiting for them to start, to come into a tournament expecting to win, and they did. And I really saw it in those Koopy's interviews, too, where he was just like, look, we wanted to get revenge on Oob. We felt like we could. I'm like, all right, that's what I want you to have every single tournament because they're going to be dominant if they do. At 2, Miami. I mean, that Utsunomiya performance was special. Caruso fit in like a glove. I'm curious to see what lineup they're going with because, Vince, you alluded to this, but for now, Trey Bardsley on the roster for Amsterdam. We'll see if that sticks. But I do think that if they can repeat for what they did in Utsunomiya as far as offensive firepower and defense and rebounding added to the mix, I like them a lot. Then number 1, look, 2 second-place finishes, ain't nothing to, see. Amsterdam. I like what I'm seeing from them. So I'm putting them at top of the rankings because I think they've been consistent in the Masters so far.
Buzz, how you gonna put Amsterdam in front of the 2 teams that beat them in back-to-back finals?
Because they went to 2 finals. They played in 2. Which other team has played in 2 finals?
That was beautiful.
I don't hear anything.
I love you.
Which other team has played in 2 finals? I can't hear you guys over the sound of nothing.
Well, Miami wasn't in Chengdu.
True. But I can't be mad at that because Amsterdam is pretty high on my list. Okay, all right. My Power 5 looks a hell of a lot different than it did the last time we did this. I'm going to start at number 5. I'm going to go with Hangzhou. You know what? Hang on. I'm not going to go with Hangzhou.
Oh.
I'm going to leave Oob in there because I still have some hope. Hangzhou, the dog pound, depending on how they play in Amsterdam, they're going to be moving in. If they perform well, they're going to move in. Okay? 5 is Oob. I haven't lost complete faith in them. I think that eventually they're going to right the ship. I think that they've got to be very careful with letting the frustration early in the season compound. I don't think it's ability. I think it's mental. And I've never seen them mentally shaken in the way that I see them now. The frustration, I'm not seeing the camaraderie, but we'll put them at 5. At number 4, Toulouse. Okay. Coming off the challenger win, obviously the 4th place finish in Utsunomiya. I think that they're gonna be dominant throughout the year. They're gonna be probably top 5 all year. Question for them is, are they ever going to move up to number 1? Okay, they got the talent. We'll see. Then at number 3, Amsterdam. Amsterdam. Yes, I know they played in both finals to start the year. They looked even better, I think, in Chengdu than they did at the openers. Martin Balkanek started to get it going. Albert's played a lot better. Drizzy's been balling, and Worthy is worthy. But I'm going to put him at number 3 simply because they lost to Miami and they lost to Radan Vars. Question is, who gets the number 1 spot? Is it Miami or is it the Lithuanians? Number two, Radon Virus Hop Trades. I think they are a matchup. Number 2, the Lithuanians. They're a matchup nightmare for most teams, especially Amsterdam, which they've proven. Why is Vince laughing at me? Why is Vince cracking up? It's because
you don't want the death stares anymore.
what?
You don't want the death stares anymore.
No, it's got nothing to do with that.
Okay.
It's got everything to do with the way Miami played in Utsunomiya. Okay? Everything to do with the way that they played. I think when they played that branded 3x3 with the confidence and the combination of all 4 playing well, especially the key guys, Mitch Hahn, Parrott, and Dylan Travis. Caruso does what he does. I still give it to Miami. I'm like kissing up to them because they still got to prove it, because they can drop down if they don't perform well in Amsterdam. But to me, they were the most impressive. I think their run to winning it in Utsunomiya was more impressive than Radon Virus's. So they are now my number 1 team in the power rankings. Argue with your mama.
There you go. So I got a question about those power rankings, right?
Yeah.
Since when can Hangzhou call ghosts? Because what is an Ouya? Ouya. Like what?
That's my dog bark. Is that better?
That's better. Yeah, that's better.
I'm sorry. They are impressive, but I gotta admit, what I like is that these players are listening to this podcast. So, hey, y'all got to step up. Vienna better step up. Toulouse better step up. Everyone that's been listening, step up. But right now, it's a lot up for the taking, but it's good 3x3 basketball, no matter what. It's only the second tournament, so we'll see.
Riff a step up.
Riff off.
Okay. Don't leave them out. Don't leave them out. But all right, fellas, I think we got to it all, didn't we?
Yes, we did.
Man, that was a healthy podcast. We went through it all. 2 tournaments, Power 5 rankings, news of the last couple of weeks, and this will drop before the Amsterdam Masters. So I'm gonna get ready for the trip. We certainly hope that y'all enjoyed. As always, tap in with us, please. Give us a follow on Instagram. It is @WordOnTheStreets. Replace the E's with 3s. We love to get your comments, your commentary. We love to include it in the show. We just need y'all to be more involved. Check us out on every major podcast platform, and we'll keep it going. Season long and beyond. Right, fellas?
Yes, for sure.
All right, it's late for me and Boz. We're gonna get ready to get some sleep. Boz is on daddy duty with young Seth here at 2 a.m. Vince is in the middle of the day over there. He's about to go to I don't know. Where you going, Vince?
I gotta go to Brooklyn. It's Mother's Day. Mother's Day weekend. Come on.
Oh yeah. Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there.
Mothers out there. I know we don't date it, but we gotta give shout out to all the moms out there. We would not be here without you.
Yes. All right, fellas. That's it. Had a lot of fun. Looking forward to the damn Amsterdam Masters next 16th and 17th. Women's series on the 15th. Right, boss?
No, Women's Series 16th, 17th, 18th is the men's.
Okay. Scratch that, edit that. Boss is right. I'm wrong. All right. 16th, 17th, 18th. We in Amsterdam up next. That's it for the work. What?
Wait. I got a little preview for the next pod. Mm-hmm. As we have Amsterdam and then Marseille. And guess what's coming up after that?
The
World Cup. So I think our next pod will be, we'll take a look back at Amsterdam and Marseille, but I think the main topic is going to be that World Cup, maybe the Utsunomiya of Ulaanbaatar Masters. I apologize, but look, I'm ready for that to start popping off as well. We're a little over a month away from that, so very exciting.
Yeah, looking forward to it. All right, appreciate y'all watching. Keep an eye out for the next episode of Word
on
the Streets.